The first relation we're going to talk about is called dominance or the domination. This is the up-down relationship in trees, the one that is connected via the branch lines. Dominate. Intuitively, this containment, if a node contains another, then it dominates it. As we can see on this abstract tree, A here dominates the B, C, D, and it also dominates the E, F, and G. So A here contains all of the nodes. Another way to think about this is on top of. So within the tree structure, if some node is on top of a branch that connects to another node, then it dominates it. Here are some another definition of dominate. A node A dominates node B if and only if A is higher up in the tree than B, and if you can trace a line from A to B going only downwards. One important point here is that the node that dominates has the lines underneath it, and the nodes that are dominated have the lines on top of them. Okay, let's talk about a couple of other kinds of domination or dominance. So first is we have here exhaustive dominance. Node A exhaustively dominates a set of terminal nodes B, C, D. It also provided it dominates all the members of the set, so that there is no members of the set that is not dominated by A, and there is no terminal node G dominated by A that is not a member of a set. Exhaustive dominance is about sets of terminal nodes. Remember, those are the nodes at the bottom of the tree. First of all, it's sets, so you have to look at the members of the set, and it's only ever terminal nodes. So effectively, a node exhaustively dominates a set of nodes provided it dominates all members of that set, so that there is no member of the set that is not dominated by A, and there's also no terminal node that's dominated by A. That's not a member of the set. The reason of that is that this is important because this is going to give us a definition for constituent. We're going to use domination to describe what items from constituents, and exhaustive domination is what gives us this. So take a look at an example here. Nodes A exhaustively dominates a set of terminals. Now look at the bottom line where the set B, C, D, and E were. And we see that A dominates all the members of that set, B, C, D, and E. And there is no things dominated by A that are not in that set. So B, C, D, and E are exhaustively dominated by A and thus form a constituent. Contrast that with the set B, C, and D. These are not exhaustively dominated by A because A also dominates E, and all members were dominated by A. Must be in the set of the exhaustively domination. Same goes with A that does not exhaustively dominate the sets B, C, D, E, and H, because H does not dominated by A. The condition is that the set of nodes that are exhaustively dominated be the entire set of nodes dominated by the dominator, and that there can be no things in that set that aren't dominated by it. This gives us the definition of constituency. So a formal definition of constituency is that the set of nodes exhaustively dominated by a single node, particularly a terminal node. B, C, D, and E here form a constituent, which is the constituent labeled A. H and I also form a constituent. They're exhaustively dominated by G. B, C, D, E, H, and I form a constituent that is dominated by F. And A and G are not terminal nodes. Well, exhaustively domination only works over terminal nodes. Although they come together to form F, they do not form a constituent. In simpler manner, constituent is defined over exhaustive domination, and constituent of is the opposite of domination. Constituent versus constituent of. So, in here, the constituent of does not mean the same thing as constituent. Essentially, constituent of is the opposite of dominance. A dominates B, then we say B is a constituent of A. Immediate constituent of is the opposite of immediate constituent. The opposite of immediate dominance. So let's see here the immediate dominance. So the immediate dominance wherein node A immediately dominates node B. If there is no intervening node G, which is dominated by A, but dominates B. So in other words, A is the first node that dominates B. Immediate dominance is a local dominance, so it's where there's only effective one line between the two nodes and not multiple lines. So basically this is a more restrictive kind of domination. So here are some informal terms we use. Mother. It is the node that immediately dominates another. Daughter is the node that is immediately dominated by another. So, this is an immediate constituent of another. Third is the sisters, two nodes that share the same mother. Another way of putting this about daughters is that an immediate constituent of, so remember, constituent of is the reverse of domination. An immediate constituent of, this is the reverse of immediate domination. Root and terminal nodes. Root node is a node with no mother. So we see here the TP. Well, on the other hand, terminal node is a node with no daughters. You see here the examples D and V. They don't have daughters, so that they were called terminal node. The second relation we're going to talk about is precedence. Intuitively, precedence comes before, so if you say something before another thing, then it precedes it. So here's our first informal definition, and it's sort of. Precedence. Precedence, node A precedes node B if A is to the left of B. This is an informal definition. But this runs into problems with trees, which are badly drawn. So let's note that precedents are precedence excludes dominance. Note that if two nodes are in a dominance relation, they cannot be in a precedence relation. Remember that dominance is containment. If you have one node inside of another, you cannot say it precedes or follows it. Now consider this poorly drawn tree here. Now here, the verb kiss is drawn to the left of the noun. Clown clearly precedes kiss because when you say that the clown kissed the donkey, the clown comes first. Now as you observe, the dominator of clown, that's the noun phrase that precedes the dominator of the verb, and that's the VP. So we do have here a precedence relationship that is correct in this tree, even though the things on the bottom of the tree are poorly drawn. Now let's go on with a particular kind of precedence. This is precedence that happens only with an immediate domination or domination relationship. So let's see here the sister precedence. In order to define precedence, we're going to need a more local relation that refers to dominance. This is sister precedence. A sister precedes B if A and B are immediately dominated by the same node. A appears to the left of B. Let's take a look at this tree to see what I mean. Man here are both dominated by the noun phrase node, and the comes from the left of man. Therefore, D sister precedes N. Also, they're in a precedence relationship. Similarly, the noun phrase sister precedes the verb phrase because they share a mother, which is the TP. And they're in an immediate domination relationship with that TP. And now let's get back to the precedence. So a precedent, so here A precedes B if and only if A does not dominate B and B does not dominate A. A sisters precedes B, or some node dominating A precedes some node dominating B. Into account all the precedence relationship, you're going to look for sister precedence relationship somewhere in the tree, and that will give you precedence. This explains why we can't cross lines in a tree. And now let's go on. Immediate precedence. Immediate precedence, so A immediately precedes B. If there is no node G which allows A but precedes B. So as you could see here, there's no such thing as A precedes to G because B is in between. So you see here that A precedes B and B precedes G. Okay, so let's go on. Sister precedence and the immediate precedence. Note that immediate precedence and sister precedence are not the same thing. The N does not sister precede the verb because they don't share the same mother. However, on the other hand, N does immediately precede B. So don't confuse the sister precedence and the immediate precedence because they may seem very familiar but they're not identical. So that is precedence. Thank you and have a great day.